Welcome to Pharmaceutical Concepts. Today we will learn the basic principle of ion chromatography. There are two important types of ion chromatography. The first one is ion pair chromatography. Ion pair chromatography is a type of reverse phase partition chromatography. If you all remember, in the previous video I have explained what is reverse phase chromatography. Reverse phase means the stationary phase is relatively non-polar in nature, whereas mobile phase is relatively polar in nature. Ion pair chromatography is used for determination of ionic species. Ionic pairing agent is added in the mobile phase. So this is something different as compared to other methods. In ion pair chromatography, basically we have to remember that a pairing reagent, which is a counter ion, a pairing reagent is added in mobile phase. This is the most important point. Then the next type of ion chromatography is ion exchange chromatography. It's a liquid solid chromatography which involves exchange of ions of like signs. Means if I have mixture of many components and all those components have similar charge, like all are positively charged, some have single positive charge, some have double positive charge, maybe all have single positive charge but their sizes are different, but all have same sign, that is same charge on it, that is positive charge. So from such mixture, if I have to separate all those components with like signs, then ion exchange chromatography is used. Ion exchange resin acts as the stationary phase. So in ion exchange chromatography, the most important part is the stationary phase, which is ion exchange resin. These are some of the applications of ion pair chromatography. It is useful for separation of bigger size ions, example chlorate, nitrate and surfactants. Therefore, it is mainly called as soap chromatography. Whereas ion exchange chromatography is used for the separation of small inorganic and organic ions, amino acids, organic acids and bases, and it is also used for softening and demineralization of water. The first important point of ion pair chromatography is the mobile phase, as I have also mentioned earlier. Organic solvents are used as mobile phase, but additionally there is aqueous buffer which is added into the solvent, and pairing agent containing counter ion is added in the mobile phase. This is the whole mobile phase used for ion pair chromatography. The second important point is stationary phase. We have seen in the first slide that ion pair chromatography is reverse phase chromatography. Why? Because we use non-polar or less polar stationary phase as compared to mobile phase. Example, C18 columns. The third important point is again related to mobile phase. The counter ion, that is the pairing agent which we have added in the mobile phase, that combines with the analyte ion to form an ion pair, which is retained by reverse phase packing. So this ion pair which is formed, that is because the pairing agent has the counter ion. Means what? Means the sample, if the sample component has positive charge, then we should choose the counter ion, or we should choose the pairing agent such that it has negative charge. So this positive and negative charges, they will have attraction towards each other, and the neutral molecule will be formed. So this neutral molecule, which is no longer in dissociated form, this is undissociated molecule. So this will have more affinity for the non-polar stationary phase, and thus the ion which is involved in this pairing, those ions will lag behind, and rest of the ions in the sample, they will flow down along with the mobile phase, and this is how the separation is achieved. The fourth important point is about pairing agent. It could be cationic in nature. So One of the examples is tetrabutyl ammonium cation. It forms ion pair with the negatively charged species from the analyte, and generally long chain alkyl ammonium salts are used for this purpose. Pairing agents which are anionic in nature, the one of the examples is perchlorate ion. It forms ion pair with the positively charged species from analyte, long chain alkyl sulfates usually having 4 to 8 carbons into them. These can be the very good examples of anionic pairing agents.
Now let us assume that I have a sample of many components into it, and among those all components this RNH2 is one of the component, and when we add the acid like HCl in such sample, the components like RNH2 they will get ionized. Now this sample in which ions have been formed, now this sample will be injected into the column, and for the further separation we have to keep on adding mobile phase. Now how this mobile phase is different in ion pair chromatography? As we have seen in the earlier slide, in ion pair chromatography, in the mobile phase we are adding one pairing agent. Now if the sample ions are positively charged, the pairing agent will be negatively charged, or the sample ions are negatively charged, then the pairing agent will be positively charged. Okay. Now when we add further mobile phase in which the pairing agent is present, in this particular example we can take the example of perchlorate ion which is having the negative charge on it. Now this negatively charged ClO4 minus, this will pair with RNH3 plus. Now after this pairing the charge will be gone, that means a neutral molecule will be formed. So in other words, undissociated species will be formed. Now this undissociated species, that is the unionized species, it will have more affinity for the non-polar stationary phase, and thus this particular component will lag behind than the any other ion present in the sample.
Now in these cases where the sample can exist as RCOO minus or RSO3 minus in case of sulfonic acids when they are dissolved in bases, the pairing agent which can be used is tetrabutyl ammonium cation. Now these counter ions combine with the analyte ion to form undissociated ion pair, which is retained more strongly by the reverse phase packing, and thus the other ions which are present in the sample which have not formed any pair with the counter ion, they will flow down along with the mobile phase, and thus the separation will be achieved. As the chain length of pairing agent increases, retention time of ion pair increases. The concentration of pairing ion also affects retention time. pH of mobile phase is usually adjusted so that the analyte exists entirely in the desired ionic form, and thus the buffers are added in the mobile phase. Let us learn something about ion exchange chromatography, some very basic and fundamental points related to principal, stationary phase and mobile phase. Two similarly charged ions can be separated from each other if they have different degree of affinity for the stationary phase. An ion possessing greater affinity for ion exchange resin lags behind an ion having lesser affinity. For ion exchange chromatography, any aqueous solvent or water can be used as mobile phase. Ion exchange resins are used as stationary phase, which are high molecular weight polymeric material containing large number of ionic functional groups per molecule, which causes exchange of solute. An ion exchange resin which acts as a stationary phase, they are of two types, which the ion exchange resins, which are of natural origin, and ion exchange resins which are synthetic in nature. The ion exchange resins like clays and zeolites are commonly used as stationary phase in case of ion exchange chromatography. Whereas under synthetic, the resins are high molecular weight polymeric material, as I told you earlier also, and accordingly they are categorized as cation exchange resins and anion exchange resins. Under cation exchange resins, these strongly acidic resins which consist of sulfonic acid and weakly acidic resins which consist of carboxylic acids are there. The strongly acidic resins are used widely. Under anion exchange resins, they contain basic groups. They are subclassified as follows, like strongly basic resins which consist of quaternary amines and weakly basic resins which consist of secondary or tertiary amines.
To understand this principle, let us take example of cation exchange resin. To be very specific, this is the strongly cation exchange resin, because we can see that there is RSO3 minus group present over there. Okay, now this RSO3 minus is the cation exchanger cation, and Na plus which is present over there, that is the counter ion present on that particular resin. So this is the stationary phase present in the column. Now the sample. Now what is our sample? Our sample is the mixture of many positive charges, and we have to separate these all components having positive charges on it. We have to separate them from each other. Now these positive charges, the one among them, the one which is having more affinity for this exchanger cation, that is RSO3 minus, that will go and bind on this exchanger cation, and it will allow the counter ion Na plus to leave the exchanger cation. So Na plus will be removed from the stationary phase, and instead of that the NH3 plus which is present in the sample and which is having more affinity for RSO3 minus, it will go and bind to the exchanger cation, and this is how the bound molecular ion is formed. And the other ions which could not bind because of their lesser affinity, they could not bind to the exchanger cation, so they will just flow down along with the mobile phase, and this is how the separation will be achieved. Now similarly you can see here, the bound molecular ion is formed by exchanging the counter ion which is present on the ion exchange resin with the corresponding ion in the sample having negative charge on it.
These are some of the important points related to ion exchange chromatography. Ion exchange resins are polymeric resins which are complex in nature due to cross-linked networks. These are copolymers of acrylic acid derivative divinyl benzene. Example, styrene divinyl benzene copolymer. These are insoluble in water or any organic solvents. Reversible reaction in which free mobile ions of solid called ion exchanger are exchanged for different ions of similar charge present in solution. The polyvalent ions are much more strongly held than singly charged species. However, affinity of the ions for the stationary phase is related to the size of hydrated ions as well as to the other properties. What is ion exchange capacity? An ion exchange resin may be characterized by the number of ion active groups. This is called as total ion exchange capacity of the resin, which is expressed as milliequivalents per gram of ion exchange resin.
To calculate ion exchange capacity, in the glass column we take the known amount of the resin, that is the known weight of the resin is taken in the glass column. Now this resin could be SO3 minus H plus, or it could be COO minus H plus. This is just the example I am taking. And so this column is filled with this particular resin, we know the weight, that is W is known. Now in this column we will add sodium chloride, that is Na plus Cl minus, and the concentration of sodium chloride which we are adding in the column is also known. Now imagine when we add Na plus Cl minus in the column, on the column itself we have SO3 minus and H plus. So this H plus and Cl minus will be removed off, and Na plus, which has of course more affinity for SO3 minus, that will go and bind to the SO3 minus, and therefore this HCl which is eluted out of the column, this HCl is further titrated with the base, and the volume required, that is the burette reading, is then noted. The base which we use or the alkali which we use for titration, its concentration is known, and thus the ion exchange capacity of this particular resin can be calculated by this formula. That is V, which is nothing but the burette reading. Then N is the normality of the base which we have used for titration, and W was the known weight of the resin. This is how we calculate ion exchange capacity of the resin.
Similarly, exchange capacity of an anion exchanger is determined by passing solution of sodium nitrate. OH-, that is the hydroxy ion, will be eluted out, and further it can be titrated with known concentration of acid. Regeneration of stationary phase, that is regeneration of ion exchange resins. Ion exchange resins after use get deactivated as the replacement of ions take place. Cation exchangers are regenerated by treatment with aqueous acid, whereas anion exchangers are regenerated by treatment with bases like sodium hydroxide or sodium carbonate solution, followed by washing with water. This regenerated resin is then reused for further separation of ions. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe and hit the bell icon for latest updates. Do like and share, and don't forget to leave your comments. Have a nice day.